Thank you all. We're going to go ahead and get started with our last Rigoy talk with Dr. Bakajin. Did I get it right?
You did.
Great. Been practicing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Okay, so my name is Olgica. I went to RSI in 91, and RSI really changed my life. This talk is neither about St. Patrick's Day nor about wheatgrass. What I'm going to tell you is some things that I've been doing with my company, Porifera. We're a small company, and we've been around for a while. I'll tell you more. And we don't fit really anybody's model, and that's just what my life has been like. And just like here, like I am giving this talk in this medical track, and I have nothing to do with medicine, and I didn't fit in the other session either. So, well, this is my path, and I'll tell you more. I hope you enjoy it. All right, so I wrote some stuff about me, and you can read it. The most important thing is RSI really changed my life. And I'm here, and I'm at every reunion because it really matters to me. I started my company in 2009, which is kind of around the time when Ben Silverman started Pinterest, and I have like 20-something people, and there's Ben. Where is the company located? In the San Francisco Bay Area. But after this, I hope you'll understand why I'm still at it. I'll tell you more about it. And I could describe to you my path. I came from former Yugoslavia to RSI, and I was this nerdy girl who was studying physics. And here I am now negotiating contracts with Fortune 500 companies and like enjoying going to beverage marketing conferences. So instead of talking about me and my path, I will talk to you about drinks. So have you ever wondered what the carbon footprint of your drink is? So at some point I looked it up, and it turns out that lattes are really the worst. So milk and coffee combined are like the most CO2 emitted, but beer is not that much better. So being quantitative, a physicist, I always want to put it in perspective. Like, so how much is that? And it turns out that beer actually emits, like production of beer and transportation until it gets to you to consume. It's like as much as the cars in the US. It's a lot. And so drinks are 90% water. And so what can we do about reducing emissions? And one thing I know from the work I've been doing and doing stuff with water is that I know how to manipulate water. And so like, can we take out water from drinks and reduce the shipping and storing and refrigerating, and how much CO2 emissions would that reduce? So, of course, I went to Princeton to grad school, and one thing I learned there is you don't give a talk unless you know the answer. So I actually have an answer, and the thing we can do is we can reduce emissions from shipping beer and storing beer, and the emissions can go down by as much as 50% by just concentrating beer. And what we've been able to do is create a process that can concentrate beer sixfold. We can create a concentrate, and then you can dilute it and put CO2 in it and create beer that tastes just like regular beer. So what does that look like? Well, this is a pallet that contains more beer servings than in 100 standard kegs. And this is just one pallet. So what we're talking about, these are the kinds of kegs I'm talking about, right? So 100 of these are on that one pallet. And what that means is we can reduce the amount of water that's shipped around the globe, and also amount of weight that the bartender has to carry. So we can deliver 2 times more servings with 1/4 of the weight. And of course, I mean, the beer has to taste the same. Like if what I delivered to you would be a beer that is different, then that would not be exactly be the solution. But luckily, we worked with Molson Coors over the years, and they've done 1 million tests and tests with professional taste testers, and the beer that we can create is the same. I mean, really, really, really the same. The concentrate reproduces the brands completely. So, of course, do people like it? So that was a big question. Like, are people going to go to the bar and be like, ooh? And it turned out that when they tasted the beer that was produced without technology versus standard kegs, they liked it. It was like the same. And we had this thing running in about 30, 40 bars and restaurants in Canada for over 2 years. So this is not just like one test here and there. People actually like it. And of course, with these green technologies, it's always people are always like, it's going to cost more money, right? Well, it turns out if you deploy it at scale, it actually saves money because transportation costs a lot. So we could actually get, if deployed at scale, we could get something like $90 per hectoliter savings for this. And we're working with researchers in Sweden to understand the costs and understand the environmental impact of this. And of course, environmental impact is significantly reduced. It's from transportation, distribution, from savings at the bar. Packaging increases a little bit, but in general, environmental impact is really good. So we have this ultra high gravity beer, this great beer that we can make. It tastes the same. It stays fresher for longer. This is something I didn't talk about, but it does actually improve the shelf life. It's well liked by the consumer, safer, better for the bars, less expensive at scale, much better for the environment. And I don't know what happened there. But it's a big change for the beer industry. So all we have to do is implement it, but that implementation is a big deal, right? And it takes a while. So we have to overcome the inertia. I mean, the big challenge here is no longer science. It's no longer technology. It's inertia. It's the psychological factors. It's critical mass to get this to scale, because nothing deployed in 30 bars is going to be cheaper than what people do on large scale. And then there's also like these regulatory things that, like, the TTB doesn't know how to tax this in the US. So in the US, we can't even do this. That's why we're doing it in Canada. So, it reminds me of water reuse. This is where I started my career with a company, is with water reuse. And people had the same reaction. Like 20 years ago, it was like, yuck, nobody's going to do it. And now companies are like, falling over backwards to show who is reusing more water. So I think we'll get there. And the thing that's really exciting to me is that we started doing this with beer with Molson Coors because they came to our door and asked about it, but it really applies to all kinds of different things. So it applies to juices. If we can concentrate beer, we can actually concentrate juices in the same way and create a juice that tastes just like fresh, has the same nutritional value as the fresh juice, and it has longer shelf life, and it is the fraction of the weight. So like 2 kilos of oranges turn into 160 grams of concentrate. So we still are shipping oranges from California to the East Coast. We're shipping juice from Brazil. I mean, I can tell you all kinds of stories of craziness that happens in the food and beverage world. Your Tropicana orange juice is probably like 3 months old by the time you drink it, and it's really, freshly squeezed. So anyway, we can do this better, and we can do things that are better for the environment. The other thing that we can do is also the clean water that we pull out of the juice, we can leave it where the fruits grew. So we are not shipping water from California to Canada or New York. We leave the water in California and then use the New York water to rehydrate. So it's really exciting. I think it's a huge change that will happen. We just have to be patient and get enough money to support us to get there. And I'll tell you that this is like the end of my talk, and it's a sustainability talk, and it's we can talk about storms and floods and polar bears and all that stuff. And and it always ends, though, every talk ends with take shorter showers, eat less meat, take public transit. You have to make some sacrifices for the environment. But with this, I feel like we have something that does not actually require sacrifice. We can drink the same juice and the same beer. We just need to implement it. So I think we'll get there. And the other thing I just want to leave everybody with is when we think about water, everybody just thinks about water as the clean water and the reuse of water, but water is in everything. And to really manage water well, we need to think about water inside of our products too. So anyway, this is where I will end my talk. If you have any questions, please come and have a wonderful beverage with me, and we can talk about beverages over dinner. And cheers to CEE for all the great support. And yeah, we're here to support the many more years for CEE. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bakajin. You don't have to wait till drinks to ask the questions now. You can ask questions now.
I'm from Canada. Where can I buy this?
So it will be in Toronto and Montreal in a few months. We're doing a little transition right now. So it was in bars I will remember the names of the bars. There were a bunch of chain bars that he had. I'll tell you later. Yeah. And,
to try it.
yes, absolutely. And you could come visit it. We have a facility in Toronto, so you could come visit us there.
Great.
Yeah. All right. We're going here, and then I'll go here. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess on the slide where you were comparing the beverages, Coke was at the very bottom, and I believe this is because they ship the syrup around and make it locally. So I guess what you're doing kind of seems like that, but with kind of arbitrary beverages. So why wasn't this done before?
Because beer and juices are very fragile liquids, and normally this is where normally I would say this in the beginning of my talk, but I only had 10 minutes, so here, the perfect question. Today the concentrates are made usually in the thermal process, and either most likely with heat, so you evaporate. So basically, orange juice from concentrate is basically cooked orange juice that is, everything gets killed in it. It's jam. So when you cook beer, it's really awful. So that it did not actually work with beer. But we were able to, with our membrane process, come up with a new way of taking water out gently. And that's why we can do it for many, many different liquids. Yes?
Really interesting talk. I had a question about the distribution system. So let's say at the bar, wherever the distribution point is, what's the equipment that you need to basically extract and turn it into a consumer product?
Yep.
Think about the cost of that equipment. How do you sort of incentivize the bar owner or whatever to invest in that equipment?
Yeah, this is part of the ecosystem. And so at this point, we have about 100-ish dispense machines. And they started with costing, I don't know, $30,000 each or something. And now we think we can make them for $1,500 or something like that. So it's basically like a fancy soda machine. It's important with alcohol. It's really important to meter exactly right. So that's a big difference between Coke machine and this, is that ABV needs to be exactly right because of the tax laws and everything. But we have a way to do it. The part of the development with all of these new things is somebody said this is kind of like EV vehicles, right? It's not just the vehicle. You have to have the charging station all around, right? So that's really what it's going to take for all of this to happen. And it's a change. It's like change of supply chain, change of dispense. But it is the right way to do it, and I think that's where we're going to go. And we shouldn't be shipping coconut water from Asia to the US because it's water. So we all know that, and we'll get there. All right. Yes.
I do curry coffee.
Uh-huh.
Brew it, Is that comparable in the?
So with Keurig, you're actually shipping beans to the US. Somebody grinds them and packages them into this little capsule, and then you make your coffee at home. And you do that because it tastes good, right? But what we can do is we can have somebody in Colombia grow the coffee, roast it there, grind it, extract it, concentrate it, then they can even dry it there and make the coffee that tastes probably better than your Keurig out of the powder that can be created with our technology. So what we would like to see is, and I think the most environmentally beneficial way of dealing with all these things is kind of take water out at the place where the fruit or beer or juice or coffee is produced, and then ship only the things that matter and ship them in that concentrated way so that you get awesome tasting product where you are. Okay.
Two last questions.
Okay, Mark.
So I missed the beginning of your talk, some of you covered this, but so if you're doing, so beer obviously is special, but if you're shipping concentrated orange juice, does it require a process to reconcentrate, or can I just mix water and concentrate in my kitchen and get orange juice?
Yeah, you could just mix it with water. It's even with beer, like it's good. Like it's pretty good. I've done it with like soda, with syrup and soda. It works fine. But you know, in a bar you can't do that because of laws.
So,
Right?
so what you're saying, like, if you win in 10 years, I go to the supermarket, I just do like concentrated everything.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that you could get like coffee. We can go like 25-fold, 30-fold. So you can have like cold brew in your fridge, liter of cold brew that will last you a month. And same thing with juice. So with coconut water, with beer, with wine. I don't know. We could do all kinds of stuff, and it's actually been really fun. Like I get winemakers and beer makers and juice makers in my office. It's been good. Better than wastewater, I think. Yes. All right. One more.
Interesting. So this doesn't use heat and freeze dry technology. This is
No.
a filtration
It's a
for
membrane.
membrane.
Yeah. All right. Well.
So what legal issues in the United States have you faced?
There's the kind of two. One is that the beer makers have created a law or regulation, I think maybe, that when you add water to beer or to a liquid outside a brewery, you cannot call it beer anymore. So every bar would have to become a brew house in order for this to work. But of course, it's a regulation. It can be changed. It's just the 20-something person company that we are today are not going to change that. We need partners. We need more ecosystem change. But yeah, and then there's something about taxation, like because the tax is higher at higher ABV than for beer. So and we deliver 40 ABV, but you drink it at beer strength. So which tax applies? It should be simple, right? Like we can do math, but it's not simple. It's complicated. All right. Well.
All right, that was our
That's
last
it.
question.
Thank you.
Thank you.